there's a massive technological revolution going on in the world of artificial intelligence. 2022 has been a huge inflection point in particular for this entire industry, from the explosion of AI art generation to the latest advancements in language models with the new ChatGPT release. Now that I've got my hands on these tools myself, it truly feels like the world will never be the same. And in this video, I want to talk about why and how it's a game changer for blockchain, in addition to pretty much every other industry out there. And also address the big elephant in the room as people see this is like, is my job safe? Is anybody's job safe? Is AI completely taking over? So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to master blockchain step-by-step start to finish, land your first blockchain job, increase your salary past 100K, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. All right, so OpenAI just released this brand new game-changing feature called ChatGPT. Okay, you might have seen this floating around online because it's such a huge deal. It's been all over Twitter. People have been chatting with ChatGPT and posting their results online, talking about how Google is done, how they can do things like write code, all this crazy stuff. So what exactly is it and how can you use it? Well, basically what this is a chat box, okay, that you can talk to that's powered by an artificial intelligence model behind the scenes, specifically a language model. And now this is not a brand new thing. We've had language models before, AI that you could chat with. But what's so crazy about this is this is now totally open and free for you to use. And it's really, really powerful. A real cut above everything else that's been available before. And so basically, it's just a text prompt that you can talk to, and it will talk back. It'll give you answers to lots of different questions you want to know. If you tell it to do certain things like, write some code, it will do that for you. So for example, once I've signed up here in this text prompt, I can just say, explain how blockchain works in 200 words or less in language a 10-year-old can understand, and hit enter. And it'll do just that. It's a pretty good explanation of how it works in simple language. That's going to give you back something much better than perhaps what a search engine could do. And it can even do things like write code for you. Like I just told it to create a brand new cryptocurrency for me from scratch with these exact specifications, and it spit out the code for this entire cryptocurrency in a matter of seconds. All right, so that's a quick demonstration of what it does and how you can use it. But definitely make sure you subscribe to this channel because my next video, I'm going to put out a full-length tutorial on how you can actually write code with this new tool, how you can do things like debug, contracts with it, how you can also use it to find security vulnerabilities and exploits that you might be able to make a lot of money with. Because I want to show you how to do all this stuff step by step, and I don't want to do everything inside this video. So make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications. I'll do that in my next video because the possibilities are absolutely endless. So what are some of those possibilities? Well, as I've got my hands on this, I've watched other people use it. I kind of narrowed down to what its strengths actually are, and they're pretty scary. So the strengths to me come down into really two different categories. So number one is the creative spark, okay? And that's where this is a big game changer. Computers for a long time have gotten increasingly better at, automating away routine tasks. Let's say, for example, you wanted to use, a big script to perform an action 1,000 times that would take you, a very long time to do manually, but you could write a script to do it, in a matter of seconds, like maybe pull email addresses from a website or something like that, or maybe pull all the blockchain addresses associated with something, right? That's an example of how you could write code as a developer in a matter of minutes that could save you hours and hours and hours of time. But what's been lacking in this space really has been that creative spark. You always have to have a human come up with new ideas in order to implement them to get that savings. And that's really what this does. So the creative spark is number one. And the other real side of this is insight, okay? Actually solving problems. I realize that insight and creativity have a pretty big, strong overlap. But what I want to do here is kind of differentiate those two things because one's more of a problem-solving domain and one's more of just an inspiration domain. And both of these things is what we're primarily relying on human intelligence to do and then delegate the rest to computers. And now a certain amount of these things that we're currently relying on humans for is now able to be delegated to a computer itself. And that's why this is such a big deal. And so what are the implications for the world for this going forward? Okay, pretty much every industry, but also specifically blockchain and Web 3.0, which I'll talk about in a minute, because it truly does feel like the world's never going to be the same now that this, has been let out of the box. So let's list some of the ways that this is an absolute game changer for pretty much every industry. So number one that I've been seeing floating around is search engines in general. Okay, like I pulled this tweet up here that says Google is absolutely done, right? If you just put this query into Google in latex, how do I represent a differential equation, right? Here's your answer. But then if you asked the chat the same thing, it gives you this like really great answer with formatted stuff here. Now, another reason this could be a game changer for search engines is because with search engines, you have all this BS about like rankings and advertisements and this really terrible experience that's kind of evolved over time. We see a lot of people actually move away from search engines to more like social groups to look for the answers they really want to know the answer to. And this is the same kind of thing for AI. If you can create an AI that gives you a better answer without all the ads, without all the crazy stuff, then that's probably what you're going to use. Another big way is coding. Okay, so you can actually write code from scratch given the specifications that you provide to the model itself. It can also find bugs inside of code. It can also do things like auditing. Talk about that more in a second when we talk specifically about blockchain, but that's really applicable to any industry. It can also do all kinds of different creative work that you'd normally have to pay money for, like writing legal contracts, for example. Let's say you wanted to come up with a simple legal agreement for user terms of service on a website. Boom, they can write it for you. Or a lease agreement. Boom, it can write it for you. Non-disclosure, whatever. It can also do lots of other creative work like, write comedy sketches. It can write songs, poems, advertisements, blog posts, YouTube titles, whatever. And all this has pretty insane implications for the future of the world as we know it, and raises lots of questions like, this person was saying that basically the chat could pass his class that he's, taking at school. So, can we even give people homework assignments anymore? Are they going to be able to prove that they did this unassisted without some sort of artificial intelligence working on their behalf? So another thing is, for any type of, creative work that you're going to assign a copyright to, how can you prove, that you didn't use artificial intelligence to generate this work in the first place? Okay. I mean, there's all kinds of implications for this. Now, while all those possibilities may get your brain going, it might even scare you a little bit, there are some limitations to this. Okay. I'll talk about those more here in a minute, but some of those quickly are that this can't actually search the internet actively for information. Okay, it doesn't really know about world events or the state of the world prior to 2021. It can't predict the future. Okay, for example, I asked it to tell me which of the top cryptocurrencies by market cap would go up next most in the next 24 hours, and it wouldn't give me an answer to that. And it can't do anything that violates ethical guidelines, like tell you how to make, explosives, for example. So now, how does this specifically affect blockchain itself? Okay, specifically the Web 3.0 industry, and particularly with blockchain, and also particularly with developers, okay? So, before I was talking about you can write code from scratch with this tool, okay? So I told it to write, this is pretty specific. I said, code a Node.js script that swaps Ether for USDC tokens on the Uniswap smart contracts directly on the Ethereum blockchain. That's pretty specific. And I said, please use the Ethers.js library to connect the blockchain with Infura. Those are all very specific parameters. And it did exactly that, okay? It shows me the Uniswap factory addresses, the USDC address. Yeah, it's got placeholders for your project ID, your private key, okay? And then it actually sets everything up and actually does the swap all inside this script. And it did this in a matter of seconds. Now, this is not an incredibly complex task, but this is something that can easily take a developer, 30 minutes to get right, 30 minutes to an hour plus, even if they have to look at documentation and figure out, okay, where's the ABI for this? What are the addresses? Where do I put this? It just knows it can do it instantly. And while this may not be completely plug and play, it accomplishes a lot of that work really quickly, where an experienced developer can save a ton of time and then just spend 5 minutes, tweaking it, and boom, it works. It can also do things like find bugs inside of your code and explain them to you in language that a human can understand. So here's a prompt, for example, this code is not working like I expect. How do I fix it? And then just paste in the code, okay? And, it could say, hey, it needs more context to explain what it is. You give it more context, and then it will actually give you the right answer to find bugs. So this is huge for your smart contracts or your blockchain applications that, don't work. You can't figure out why they're working. You can just upload your code to this, say, hey, it's not working, give us more details, and it can help you get unstuck. And the other big game changer for blockchain, specifically for developers, is that it can find security vulnerabilities inside of smart contracts, okay? So I put in some specific smart contracts here, told it exactly what to look for, and it told me what the exact security vulnerability was inside this contract. It's absolutely insane. And that's kind of the talk of the town right now, because lots of other people have been doing this. I've been monitoring this on Twitter, where people have, you could just give it a live smart contract out in the wild, and it's found vulnerabilities on this. Now, of course, I never advocate for nefarious activity on this channel. Okay, I'm not saying you should go use it to go steal money, but this is going to change the game for people who are finding bugs in the wild, who can ethically disclose these things to teams and get rewarded for doing so. Now, I realize that levels the playing field. If everybody's got access to this, all right, it makes you less competitive if you have it, but you still might be able to use this in a creative way that others aren't that can give you an edge to find these. All right, so that's an overview of what this new AI is capable of, how it's going to affect really the entire world, also specifically blockchain, the Web 3.0 space, specifically for developers. Now, let me give you my own thoughts, conclusions on this. Let's first start off with the elephant in the room, the big fear. Is this going to put everybody out of a job, right? Is my job safe? Is your job safe? Do we actually need blockchain developers anymore if we can just get computers to do all that stuff for us? So, what I would say is this, that the AI is really becoming an assistant, okay? It's not fundamentally replacing developers at this point, okay? Because I have seen the AI get some things wrong. It can save you a lot of time, okay? But I don't see this anytime soon completely erasing the need for developers or anything like that. Now, that being said, this could reduce the headcount that's required to get things done because you can make the same number of developers more effective by using these types of tools as a massive lever to get stuff done faster, okay? So that is very possible. But as I see it, we still have a ton of demand for developers across the entire industry, and there's still such a small shortage that I don't think this is going to close the gap to satisfy that, supply-demand imbalance. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have an operator that knows what it's doing. That is a really seasoned programmer, because the model does occasionally get some things wrong, okay? And you have to have somebody who knows they're doing to catch whether or not it's getting something wrong. And we had somebody on Twitter actually give the model an IQ test, and it found that its model in terms of actual just fluid intelligence was only 83. Okay, so it's not in a case where we have this massively intelligent being that can completely replace humans, but it can be a very good assistant to human effort right now. And really, we're at the early stages of this, and who knows where this technology could be in a 5 to 10 year time frame. We may have a very different perspective than what we do now. All right, so that's all I got for today. As always, smash this like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. It really helps these videos out so the more people learn about blockchain. And if you're as fast at this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? Well, you can go to my YouTube homepage. You can find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those, you want to the next step, or hey, maybe you want to go for the throat right now, become a blockchain developer, increase your salary past 100K, I can show you how to do that over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. Okay, you don't have to be an expert to get started right now. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. Until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.